Welcome to the Deep Dive. We sift through information to bring you the key insights fast.
Today, we're looking at something uh, quite unexpected with weight loss.
Right. Not just the physical change, which is, obvious, but this quietness.
Exactly, a kind of silence that settles in. We're exploring this idea, Dan Hollis calls it the quiet window.
The quiet window, okay.
Yeah, it's when that constant background hum in your head about food, cravings, planning the next meal, using food to cope, when that actually starts to fade.
It's fascinating because for so many people, food is, well, it's more than just fuel, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's like a co-pilot,
Yeah.
a constant rhythm in life. Think about Kate, someone whose experience we're looking at. She's 46, mother of 3.
Okay.
She's been on semaglutide for about 2 months, lost 7 pounds, minimal side effects, blood sugar's looking better, tick of the boxes.
Sounds like it's working as expected then.
On the surface, yes. But the thing that really struck her wasn't the pounds coming off. It was, and this is her quote, the craving that didn't show up.
Ah, that's the hook, that absence.
Mm-hmm.
Absence. Because food is that rhythm for so many, like chips when you hit that afternoon slump.
Yeah, or bread when you feel a bit lonely, cake for celebration.
Right. It's how we respond. It's just
Yeah.
there, a constant. So what happens when that constant just goes quiet?
Well, that's what this deep dive is really about. What emerges from that silence? When food stops being the automatic answer, what questions surface?
And how does that quietness actually allow for, I guess, deeper self-discovery, maybe even healing, rebuilding who you are?
Precisely. Let's dive into that silence, that
Yeah.
unsettling quiet Kate talked about.
Okay.
She said she felt like a ghost in her own kitchen. Can you imagine?
Wow. A ghost?
Yeah. Her house felt too quiet. Her brain, like a library after hours.
A library after hours. That's a really evocative description. It wasn't sadness, though.
No, she's clear about that. Not sadness. More like everything feels like truth now.
Truth. That
Yeah.
sounds intense.
Very. It's like the constant background noise of her life got turned off. And suddenly she could hear everything else, everything it had been muffling.
So what's the biggest hurdle then when you first hit that quiet? When the old ways of coping just aren't there anymore?
I think it's that unexpected emotional ways.
Yeah.
We don't often talk about the grief.
Grief for losing something that was maybe harming you.
Exactly. The grief of losing the thing that numbed you, even if it was also, messing up your life.
Yeah.
Kate said she didn't miss the food itself.
No.
No. It was the signal, the rhythm, the self-story that said, at least I know how to feel full.
That's profound. That feeling of fullness as a known state.
Right. And this is where Dan Hollis's work really comes in. He says his real work with people starts right then. Not when the scale changes, but when they start hearing. He calls them the echoes.
Echoes.
Yeah, the echoes of all the years they used food to muffle the deeper questions.
So if the food noise was muffling things,
Yeah.
what are these echoes? What does that actually feel like, hearing them for the first time?
Well, imagine your mind has always had this buzz, cravings, what to eat, food thoughts. It's loud.
Okay.
Then suddenly it's quiet. And in that quiet, you start to hear these whispers, maybe anxieties you've avoided, needs you haven't met. It's not always, comfortable. But it's the space where the real questions finally get airtime. Questions like Hollis poses. What am I hungry for when I'm not hungry?
Right.
Who am I without the chase? What's left when the noise goes?
That leads right into this key idea from Hollis, the difference between physical hunger and emotional hunger.
Exactly. Physical hunger, to grumble, a hollowness in your stomach. Pretty
You
straightforward.
do know that one.
But emotional hunger, he describes it as a question, a need asking to be seen.
A question. Wow, that makes you think, doesn't it? How often have I mistaken, like, boredom for hunger?
We all do it.
Or that late night scrolling that somehow ends with a snack. It's
Wow.
almost... Yeah, unsettling how much is just autopilot.
It is. And that's the core of it. We mistake fatigue, loneliness, stress, even overstimulation for hunger. What Hollis suggests is that often when you're reaching into the pantry, what you're really looking for isn't food. It's maybe connection, comfort, or clarity.
An underlying need that just got mislabeled as hunger.
Precisely. Misidentified.
And this is where semaglutide fits in. Ozempic, Wegovy.
Right. It's a GLP-1 receptor agonist. Basically mimics a gut hormone. Tells your brain you're full, slows down digestion.
Developed for type 2 diabetes, but then they noticed this major side effect, weight loss.
Significant weight loss, yeah. But here's the crucial part. It doesn't solve the emotional hunger.
Oh.
It just, as Hollis puts it, makes the biological noise quiet enough to finally hear it.
So it creates the silence.
Creates the silence. Or as he says, it's the silence that lets you find one. An answer? Maybe.
But that silence, it sounds like it could feel really vulnerable.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
When food isn't your emotional scaffolding anymore, you don't just feel lighter physically, you feel exposed.
Exposed. Yeah, I can see that.
It's a raw place. But Dan's approach here is, well, really compassionate. He doesn't shame the pattern.
No.
No, he named it. He gives people permission to see that emotional hunger, not as some kind of failure, but maybe as wisdom misdirected.
Wisdom misdirected. I like that. It changes the whole frame from I'm bad for doing this to my system was trying to cope, just maybe not in the best way.
Exactly. That shift from self-criticism to, well, self-compassion, it's huge. It's liberating.
So how does he teach people to deal with these messengers, the cravings?
He teaches a pause. Pause, not to punish myself, but to get curious.
Curious, okay.
Asking that question, what am I really hungry for? He sees cravings not as enemies to be fought, but as messengers.
Messengers.
Yeah, to be met with insight, not impulse.
Insight, not impulse. That's a powerful distinction.
It really is. It means healing that emotional hunger needs empathy, awareness. It requires asking the question behind the craving. It's not about gritting your teeth and using willpower. It's about understanding.
That's the real work then.
That is the real work. And for Kate, it wasn't some lightning bolt moment.
No big epiphany.
No, she just started noticing. When she
Yeah.
felt that pull to the pantry, maybe after a stressful call or when the kids were asleep and she was bored, she'd pause, like Dan suggests, and ask, okay, what's really going on here? What do I actually need? Sometimes it wasn't food at all.
So that quiet space created by the drug, it really is a turning point. When food, which was comfort, noise, always there, suddenly isn't.
It's a huge moment. And like Dan Hollis says, the real work begins when the cravings stop. That's when the truth shows up.
And that flips the script on how we usually think about weight loss failure, right?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the drug failing.
Often, no. It might be the lack of support to handle that quiet, to rewrite the rituals that define their identity. You need to build a new system, not just take away the old crutch.
Right. It's not just about removing something.
Exactly. So Dan reframes weight loss. It's not chasing a number. It's building a life where food isn't your only coping tool.
Building a life.
Yeah. And he has this great insight about control. He tells people, you didn't lose control, you lost connection.
Connection.
To your hunger cues, to your purpose, to yourself. That's what we help you rebuild.
So semaglutide, in this view, it's not the magic bullet.
Definitely not. He calls it not a solution, but a pause, a breather, a reset.
A pause.
Yeah. It creates the space you need to design a new way of operating for yourself.
And he warns about focusing only on fast results.
Big time. He stresses that lasting change is different. The scale doesn't measure self-trust. You absolutely have to plan for life after semaglutide.
That sounds like a really critical point, because if you fought cravings for years, how do you shift from seeing them as the enemy to, well, messengers, without getting overwhelmed or just snapping back?
That's the core challenge, isn't it? The integration work. And Dan tackles that cheating idea people have about these drugs.
Yes, the easy way out argument.
Right. He says semaglutide isn't cheating, it's adaptation. The real cheat is pretending willpower was enough. That's powerful. Willpower wasn't enough.
It highlights that biology. Well, it plays a huge role. The drug might give you a leg up, a head start, but identity is what keeps you going long term.
Identity.
Yeah, because every old habit linked to food needs to be consciously replaced, not just stopped. You have to build that self-trust in the quiet. It's a fundamental rebuild.
Not just trimming around the edges.
No, and Dan's view is that this true healing, it's quiet.
Quiet.
It's intentional. It's the slow layering of new choices, new thoughts, and new systems, all built during that sacred window that semaglutide creates.
That sacred window. So going back to Kate, how did this play out for her day to day?
Again, no fireworks. Just quiet, consistent shifts.
Like what?
Like reaching for tea instead of automatically opening a second bottle of wine after a long day. Or taking a walk, not because she had to burn calories, but because she said it felt like a conversation with her future self.
A conversation with her future self. That's lovely.
Listen it. And she's clear. She's not done. She's not fixed. She's not suddenly a new woman. Right. It's a process.
But she's here, in the quiet, listening. And that, Dan says, is the real protocol. listening in the quiet.
Okay, so let's just recap this deep dive. We've explored what can happen when that constant noise of food cravings finally quiets down.
Right. And the profound opportunity that silence creates for self-reflection, for rebuilding, really, for understanding yourself better.
It's not just about what you lose physically, but maybe what you gain in terms of clarity and self-awareness.
Absolutely. And, if you listening are maybe walking through that kind of silence yourself,
Mm-hmm.
if that craving didn't show up today and it feels unsettling,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe more unsettling than you expected,
Yeah.
you're not breaking, you're not doing it wrong, you might just be starting to really hear yourself again.
Welcome to the quiet window.
Yeah, welcome. You're definitely not alone in this.
So, a final thought maybe for everyone listening. What other areas of your life might have that kind of background noise that stops you from hearing deeper truths or unmet needs?
What insights could be waiting for you in your own quiet window?
If you just gave yourself the space, maybe, to listen.